Hello, welcome to Aus Football Talk. I'm Cody Ojeda, really excited to be launching this. More Australian football content to clog up your feed. Hopefully this is something you can enjoy. So what is Aus Football Talk going to be? Well, hopefully it's an Australian football show done a bit differently. Diving into the stories, the moments, and the aspects that shape the game down under. There'll be general commentary on the comings and goings, some light-hearted content for your easy viewing, as well as some special features from people across the game, with a bit of a look at the sport around the world. It's been a long time coming this, so hopefully it's something you can buy into, and if you have any ideas of something that you'd like to see on this, feel free to share them with me. And to kick us off, a bit of a rundown on what's been happening in the A-League in recent weeks. Two coaches across both competitions have left their position. Paddy Kisnorbo's left Melbourne Victory's men's side, and Robbie Hooker's left the Wanderers women's. Langerak's back in the league with Victory. Beatty Go's retired to take up a career as a doctor, and Dino Aslanigic has left MacArthur on compassionate grounds. But make sure you treat him with some respect because he plays A-League football. But with that out of the way, we can get to the good stuff, everyone's favourite part of football down under. The meme moments we've seen in the A-Leagues in recent weeks. Everyone's favourite thing about the A-Leagues is the fact that week by week, game by game, you never have an absolute idea what you are about to witness. One week you'll see the best goal you've ever seen in your life, and the next you'll get a diabolical moment that makes you want to pull your hair out. But it's a downright weird that reels us in week on week, peak A-League as they say. So here's the best meme moments from the recent weeks in the A-Leagues. Jordan Lawton scored what could possibly be the goal of the season with a fantastic bicycle kick to seal 3 points for Western United in Perth. Understandably, he took his shirt off in excitement to celebrate. The only issue with this, he was already on a yellow card. Next we have the Sprinkler, the classic enemy of football. And A-League clubs have had fun with this age-old rivalry recently. First we saw them come on mid-game over in Perth when the Wanderers went to visit. And then during a halftime interview with Adelaide United legend Cassio during the MacArthur-Wellington match. Think the dub is safe from the chaos? You are wrong. After Brisbane scored against Adelaide United, their goalkeeper Claudia Jenkins had an interesting way of delaying the restart. And to wrap this up, not a comedic moment per se, but Alyssa Wynnum being the most excited person in the country whenever she scores is a beautiful feature of the competition. To be fair, the goal she scored warranted that kind of selling. Some hit that. Never short of entertainment value, the A-League. Looking more legitimately at the league though, the introduction of Auckland FC has been a welcome addition. Big crowd, strong performances and mounting a title challenge in their inaugural season. But we mustn't forget Wellington Phoenix, the OG New Zealand team, arguably. What isn't arguable though is the fact that this rivalry is slowly turning into a must-see in the competition. It's the newest derby to hit football down under, but even already in its short history, it's already captured the attention of A-League fans. On one hand, a team that's taken the league by storm, mounting a title challenge in their inaugural season. On the other side, the team flying the New Zealand flag in the A-League since 2008, a long-standing figure in the New Zealand sporting landscape. Pit them together and you get a fixture that already in its short history has brought fiery clashes, late drama and banterous moments. This is the New Zealand derby.
Auckland has a reputation of getting more than its fair share of media coverage in every form of life and especially sports. An Auckland team will mean that we, as the Wellington Phoenix, get a lot more media coverage purely off of that.
Wellington Phoenix have been New Zealand's only professional football club since 2008, when they took the licence over Auckland-based New Zealand Knights after the club folded due to financial pressures.
The Knights never really struck a chord with the locals. They had the backing of a whole country and they failed miserably.
Since then, they've been the sole representative for New Zealand in professional football, shouldering a responsibility for the progression of the sport in the country.
We've got too much talent that all couldn't come through the Phoenix, so Auckland developing young New Zealand talent is good for New Zealand.
But step forward Auckland FC, the newest club in the A-League and Auckland's third attempt at a football club, after New Zealand Knights and Football Kings.
The Kings didn't really do much in the NSL. They had a few great moments and then the Knights came along and they were just a massive disappointment all round, and I think New Zealand football was seen as a joke.
Since their inception, they've been forthcoming about hitting the ground running and being competitive. And to their credit, they've backed the talk, putting themselves well within a title race.
What they were doing in terms of engaging the fan base, the local communities, it just felt everything was being done right.
The introduction of Auckland FC signalled the first time two New Zealand sides would play in an Australian football league simultaneously, a rarity in sport in general in New Zealand.
Yes, we have New Zealand, like the Hurricanes, Blues and the rugby, but I don't think I've ever seen it to that level.
An inherent rivalry already exists between the two cities, but this was a chance to really showcase it in a sporting context.
There's a phrase, if you're from Auckland, you get called a Jaffa, which is just another effing Aucklander.
For a lack of better term, Aucklanders generally thinking that they are a lot better than the rest of New Zealand.
Everyone just seems to flock up to Auckland because that's where everything is.
It didn't take long for tensions to build between the two sides, with former Wellington goalkeeper Alex Paulson signing for Auckland via their sister club Bournemouth.
We got a club record fee.
It wasn't really Auckland's doing. He was picked up by Bournemouth, who happened to have Auckland FC as a sister club.
Cheers for helping fund our club.
With the new kids on the block asserting themselves quickly, the first match between the two sides was quick becoming a tantalising fixture.
I think initially everyone kind of was like, oh, look, it's all publicity stunts, until the first minute of the first derby.
The week before the two sides were due to play each other, a plane flew over Mount Smart Stadium where Auckland were hosting Sydney FC, with a banner that read, "New Zealand is yellow, see you next week." A final dig before the two sides came face to face.
None of us Phoenix fans kind of knew it was happening. To be honest with you, it just kind of appeared one day and I kind of looked and laughed and went, that's quite funny.
The pot shots didn't faze Auckland though. A heavy challenge from Lewis Verstrade set the tone early for a proper derby clash. It proved to be a cagey affair, but in the end, Auckland did come on top, thanks in part to an Oluwayemi mistake. And immediately after the match, Auckland returned serve, hiring out the advertising board outside of Wellington Airport, saying, "Ellington, we took the W back to Auckland."
It was quite funny initially, but when you see it in every Instagram comment section, Ellington with no W and 2 L's, sort of thing. Yeah, haha, we lost both derbies.
I thought that was fantastic because they didn't have a leg to stand on. They just had to cop it.
Since then, Auckland won the reverse fixture on their home turf and continue to be a force in the competition.
Oh, I certainly wasn't expecting the level of success that they had earlier. 6 or 7 straight was ridiculous.
But the introduction of derby football in New Zealand has helped grow the ever-increasing hype for the sport within the country, spearheaded right now by the performances of Chris Wood in the Premier League.
More players going overseas. We've got more players in good quality leagues, and to have another outlet, it's just going to keep those numbers progressing.
Attendances for the matches have been outstanding, and the buy-in from the Yellow Fever and the Port has made for an incredible atmosphere.
Gets the general population talking a local derby. It always has that extra hype to build afterwards, It's something that has now become coffee machine or water cooler chat at the office.
The future of the sport is so bright in New Zealand, and I'm really hopeful.
A third tie between the two sides awaits, with both teams having a lot of riding on the result that day. But both sides have their own unique identities that reflect the cities they represent, even Auckland so quick into their existence. And the more the rivalry between the two sides represents a rivalry between the two cities, all in its own unique way, the more this fixture will become a standout on the A-League calendar.
I don't know if the Wellington fan base had become kind of stale, basically had their own run of things for the last 15 years, and then the noisy neighbour comes along. It's a bit of a slap in the face.
So what's in store for us when these two sides face again? We'll just have to wait and see. Really is turning into something special, the New Zealand derby. Looking at the lower leagues of Australian football, the NPLs are about to get underway in the next few weeks, and we've seen some interesting moves across the country. Preston aside in particular turning heads with their transfer activity, but today we're going to look at the New South Wales competition and the best moves that have happened there. The NPL New South Wales is just weeks away from kicking off, so here's a very subjective top 10 signings that you should be watching out for. In 10th, Jordan Perez heading to Spirit FC. The former Australia Under-23 international returns to Australia after several years abroad in Spain, Greece and Cyprus. Only 22, he could be one of the most exciting youngsters to look out for in the league this season. At 9, Draydon Kelly heading to Apia. The Canadian joins Apia from NPL Queensland side Rochdale Rovers after spending some time playing D1 college soccer in America too. An imposing figure and handy with his feet, the centre-back partnership of him and Tembo Watamalo will be interesting. At 8, Nicholas Olsen heading to Wollongong Wolves. The winger brings a wealth of experience to the Wolves, spending time in Vietnam, Maldives and Kuwait. Not unfamiliar with the NPL New South Wales too, turning out for Sydney United, Apia and Sutherland Sharks, a handy pickup for Wollongong. At number 7, Jawad Razai heading to Marconi. Razai's been a regular feature in the NPL across WA and Victoria for several years now, and makes the move to New South Wales for the first time. A one-time Afghan international, he'll bring a decent pedigree to the Palace in 2025. At 6, Daniel Nizic heading to Sutherland Sharks. Following a stint at MacArthur, Nizic joins the Sharks in search of regular game time. It's a big signing for Sutherland. When Nizic is at his best, he's the best keeper in the competition, one to certainly keep an eye on. At number 5, Mario Chabau signing for Sydney United. This could be a real coup for the club. Chabau has been a stalwart for Blacktown City over the last 5 years, a central figure at the club. He spent time with the Wanderers, the Mariners and the Jets too, as well as representing the young Socceroos. Chabau's one of the standout players in the competition. At number 4, Rafael Leai to Wollongong Wolves. The Solomon Island international is arguably the best Oceania wonder kid at the moment, outside of New Zealand. Zealand. An incredible 91 goals in 44 games in the Solomon Islands first tier, he turned out for Bosnian side Velez Mostar before moving to South Australia and Adelaide City. A live wire forward that could be an exciting watch. Number 3, it's Michael Glasslock going to Sydney United. The defender's only 25 years old but has already built up some decent overseas experience playing in Malaysia and Hong Kong. It's another statement signing for Sydney United though, with this being another key figure from a rival club they've managed to sign. At number 2, Jack Gibson heading to Sydney Olympic. The towering goalkeeper made his A-League debut at the start of 2024, impressing for the Wanderers in a 3-1 win over Macarthur, before unfortunately doing his ACL in the warm-up before his next match. Between that and the promise that he showed in his last stint in the NPL New South Wales with Marconi, this could be a massive signing for Olympic. And before I reveal my top signings, some notable mentions. Marconi filled the gap left by James Tomakovsky with former Wolves striker Jake True. Goalkeepers Oliver Carlatz and Tristan Prendergast join RPO and Sydney United respectively. And Olympic have made some other exciting signings through Jack Armson and Josh Fong. But now for the number 1 signing for the NPL New South Wales this off-season, it's Mudi Najjar going to Rockdale. He was meant to turn out for the club last season before an opportunity in Korea came up, but he was a big signing then and still is now, adding firepower to an already stacked front line. The link up with Alek Oroshevsky will be insane. The silly season well and truly producing the goods at the semi-professional level. If any other moves have stood out for you, feel free to let me know in the comments. It's not just domestically where Australian football is shining though, some of our best exports are doing their things on stages around the world. But Cody, who should we be focusing on right now? Well, I'm glad you asked. I hope. Welcome to On The Radar, a segment to showcase the performances and players of Aussies abroad that you should know about. First up, Nectar Triantis. After leaving the Mariners following their 2023 Grand Final win, his time in Europe got off to a slow start, riding the bench for Sunderland. On loan at Hibs, but he's gone from strength to strength. Brought in originally by his former coach Nick Montgomery, his first full season with the club has put Scotland, Australia, and maybe even Greece on notice. The Hibs have been undefeated since early December and Triantis has been at the centre of their hot streak. 2 goals and 2 assists in that period, presenting himself as an effective ball carrier, while being a solid screen for the backline. Also at Hibs, Martin Boyle has 5 goals and 2 assists in his last 7 matches, including 2 braces. He was in the last Socceroos squad, but form could see him play a bigger part this time round. Over in England, Jacob Chapman has earned the number 1 role at Huddersfield after a season on loan in the National League, and he's repaid the faith, 9 clean sheets in 18 league games for the 24-year-old. And finally, Sebastian Esposito's performances in Italy's top youth league are worth noticing. A regular feature for Lecce at centre-back, captaining the side and keeping clean sheets, he's certainly one to watch for the future. That's just a sample of the players turning heads right now, but ones that definitely do deserve a platform. A particular congrats to Sebastian Esposito too, who's just been named in the Young Socceroos squad for the Under-20s Asian Cup. But with that, a quick look at what's happening overseas. Every basic bloke's favourite league, the Premier League. Liverpool looking the goods in top spot, while Man United and Tottenham continue to linger in the bottom half. Barcelona won the Spanish Super Cup in Saudi Arabia, make that make sense. But if you're after proper entertainment, look no further than the Indonesian second tier. Here's this edition of Overseas Moments we wish happened in the A-League. This episode's overseas moment we wish happened in the A-League comes from the Indonesian second tier. Persikota, who was already up 5-1 against Persikabo, scored a 6, and a Persikabo defender chasing down the shot, fell into the net, and as he tried to get up, saw the whole goal collapse back on him, getting injured in the process. Definitely not a nice way to concede. You could almost say it adds insult to injury. I'll see myself out. When we say we love the beautiful game, this is obviously what we are referring to. That almost wraps things up for this episode, but before I do go, it's 2025 now. A new year, new possibilities await, and there's new storylines to play out. So in true creative fashion, here's my wildest takes that I can see playing out in 2025. These are my wildest takes for 2025. Starting in the A-League, Sydney FC women's turned their season around and somehow sneaked their way into the final series this year. And on the men's side, we've seen Nicolas Milanovic make moves overseas for 1 million AUD. Looking at the lower levels of Australian football, the CL format national second tier kicks off and is won by a side that wasn't one of the inaugural 8. And in the Australia Cup, Preston Lions make it further than every other non-A-League side. Within our national teams, the Socceroos get a boost with Volpato declaring allegiance. Both the Joeys and the young Socceroos make their respective World Cups. And Alexia Apostolakis becomes the next Matilda's debutante. For our Aussies overseas, Ange wins the League Cup with Tottenham and Dario Vidicic wins the WSL Manager of the Season. Looking at football in general, Liverpool win a domestic double while Man United finish closer to relegation than they do the top 10. And England get knocked out in the group stages of the Women's Euros. And looking at Australia's sporting landscape overall, Guokwa will break the 10-second barrier in the 100 metre, and Alex de Minaur will be the first Australian to win a men's Grand Slam since 2002. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have any segment ideas you want to see me do or implement, drop those in the comments too. Just don't put anything that's going to require me spending a lot of money. budget's a bit tight at the moment. My name's Cody Ojeda, hope you enjoyed the episode. Next one will be in March, but until then, it's bye for now.